Accidental Love by Gary Soto, Chapter 7. Marissa fabricated a story of how she had hit her face on the shower nozzle. Her uncle Pedro, a small man, no taller than a boy, had done the remodeling on the bathroom several years ago before and assumed everyone was his height. The nozzle was positioned low. Marissa vowed to stop fighting. She would stand by her nerdy boyfriend and learn to play chess, Renee's favorite pastime. She would come clean about her new life and learn chess in the presence of her mother and father. Renee, only slightly scared of meeting her parents, biked over on Sunday afternoon with the chessboard and pieces rattling in his backpack. Marissa's mother had been ready to go shopping when she opened a door to a young man she would later tell Marissa resembled a clean cut young religious type going door to door handing out pamphlets. Mrs. Rodriguez, I'm Rene Torres, a classmate of Marissa's. He extended a hand and asked permission to leave his bike on the porch. Of course, she remarked, without looking at the bike leaning on the rail. She let Rene pass, holding the door open for him. Who is this skinny boy? Her face was asking. Marissa's father muted the television just as the Raiders, down 3 points, were attempting a 48-yard field goal. He stood up to shake hands with Renee. Don't let us disturb you, sir, Renee said. We're going to play chess. Her father and mother gawked. Was this boy here to court their daughter? Why did the boy have a red nose? Did it have anything to do with their daughter's cut lip? Mom, Marissa called, embarrassed by her mother's jaw hanging open. What? She asked. You're staring. Her mother's gawk reshaped itself into a smile. I guess I am. Her mother clipped away into the kitchen, where Marissa figured she was leaning against the sink and pondering the meaning of a boy showing up at their door. They played on the table in the den. Marissa's mother brought them cookies and milk, and her father, hiking up his pants, would enter the den periodically to report on the score between the Raiders and the Broncos. I can't believe my dad, Marissa muttered. Her father had left the television muted so he could hear them. He had given up his Sunday football to eavesdrop. Marissa could make out her mother tiptoeing from room to room. She too was trying to listen. They are concerned for your safety, Renee said. He moved a bishop and took a pawn from Marissa. I might maul you any second. Marissa wagged her head. No way, homeboy. That was the first fight of my entire life, Renee moved his queen. How did I do? That wasn't your first fight. You lie, Marissa exclaimed. She remembered fighting in kindergarten when she had an argument over a red crayon. You must have had another one. I explained I'm against violence. And why is that, you might ask? Marissa remembered very clearly. Because you usually get beat up. Her hand crept over Renee's like a tarantula. She told him that her parents were funny, the way they were worrying about her. She giggled and moved her bishop 2 spaces. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I can do what I want. This is my house. Renee slid his rook 6 spaces and took her queen. Marissa surveyed her lost pieces. Then she counted the pieces she had taken. 1 pawn. Even with Renee coaching her on her moves, she was headed to defeat. I'm better at Candyland. Candyland? I would slaughter you, buddy boy. Her smile hurt her cut lip and forced her to emit a faint ouch. Does it hurt a lot? Renee asked. Only when you say something silly. How's your nose? Sore, he answered. Renee pushed Marissa's pieces back to her side and said, Let's play again. They played 6 games, and each one got easier for Marissa, who suspected that Renee was losing his pieces on purpose. They were going to start a 7th game when Marissa's father stepped into the den smiling. Raiders won in overtime, 21-19. He hiked up his pants and asked, Who's winning here? Her mother then appeared from behind her father. You want to stay for dinner? I'm defrosting some tamales. That's very nice, Renee replied, but my mom expects me home for dinner. Marissa turned and saw that it was still daylight. Sunlight spilled in from the window. What's your last name again, Renee? Her father asked. Torres. He pinched his chin. Torres, Torres. I used to know Manuel Torres from high school. Is that your father? No, he's Ben Torres. Marissa's father lowered his head and had the appearance of someone thinking deeply on a game show. No, I don't know any Ben Torres. I know a Rebecca Torres, her mother cut in. She had brushed her hair and reddened her mouth with lipstick. Marissa thought, this is enough. We got to bounce out of here. We're going out for a walk, she said. Renee looked puzzled. Marissa raked the chess pieces into his backpack and fit the board in carefully. She peeked in and noticed the dog-eared copy of Romeo and Juliet. Don't be long, Marissa's mother sang sweetly. The two stood on the porch, although sunlight still flickered off what leaves remained on the sycamore tree in the yard. Marissa shivered from the cold, but she hesitated over going back inside. Her parents would press her against the wall and began to interrogate her. Just who was this Chavallo? Renee rolled his bike off the porch and Marissa jumped down the stairs. She was sure that her parents were peeking from the front window. She turned and caught sight of them ducking behind the curtains. They're nice, Renee said. Marissa said nothing. You get on. She took the bike from Renee's grip. Me? He stabbed a finger at his chest. Yes, you. When Renee hopped onto the bar, the bike nearly tipped over. But Marissa gripped the handlebars, kicked a leg over the seat, and pushed off, wobbly at first, then straightening and picking up speed, and as their shadow pursued them along the black asphalt. My, you're strong, Renee said. Marissa had a laugh inside. My, you're strong. She had a boyfriend, and so what if he was a nerd? They rode to the public playground, which was gated closed on Sunday, and sat on the grass. Watch this. Renee got into push up position and did 25 shaky push ups. You're going to have some serious swolls in a month. She clapped her hands and pulled off a piece of grass stuck in his chin. I liked your parents, Renee said after he caught his breath. They seem so compatible. Marissa didn't want to discuss her parents. No, she wanted to hear about his secrets. Anything. I have no secrets. I'm an open book with the word book. He rifled through his backpack and brought out the copy of Romeo and Juliet. You gotta have a secret. Renee touched his chin and looked skyward dramatically and then shivered once as his gaze leveled and directed a soft kiss on her lips. I like that, purred Marissa, who had accepted the kiss with her eyes open. That was one of my secrets. That was the kind of kiss I used to plant on my pillow. You kissed your pillow? I slobbered all over it, he laughed with his hand over his mouth. After his giggling subsided, he opened the copy of Romeo and Juliet and said, Let's practice. So they sang out of tune, that fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again, alike bewitched by the charm of looks. They sang the long chorus 3 times, and before the 4th time, Renee brought out his recorder from his backpack. With music, Renee suggested. He licked his lips and began to play. I'm in love, Marissa told herself. Poetry and music. Her life had changed all because of Alicia and Roberto. If they hadn't gotten into the car accident, none of this would have happened. This is one of her secrets. Another was that she had liked Roberto a lot, but that was a long, long time ago. Aunt Sarah came over for dinner. She arrived lugging a bag of oranges from the tree in her yard. Marissa gave her aunt a kiss and pried the bag from her. That night, they ate the tamales Marissa's mother had defrosted. Her mother couldn't help saying, A young man came by to see Marissa today. Mom, Marissa scolded. She felt her cheeks burn. But it's true, her mother remarked. Marissa's father shook his head at his wife, who grumbled, Okay, I won't say anything. She parted her tamale and pretended to be hurt. They ate in silence for only a few minutes before Marissa said, He's a boy from school. We're in a play. Her aunt's eyes shone. That's nice. We're going to be in a performance at school. You should come and see it. I will, her aunt reached for the basket filled with tortillas wrapped in a dish towel. What play, sweetheart? Marissa pinched off a glob of frijoles and a piece of tortilla and shoved the untidy portion into her mouth. She chewed and wondered whether she should tell them. They were all waiting for the answer. She swallowed, drank from her water glass, and answered, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, her mother squealed. How romantic. When Marissa's mother said she didn't have to go to work the next day, something about the office building being fumigated, Aunt Sarah suggested that her niece stay with her overnight. This way, her mother wouldn't have to get up early and drive across town. Marissa could wake up and walk the 3 blocks to Hamilton Magnet. That'll be fun, Marissa said, and ran to her room to get her things. When she snatched her cell phone from the chest of drawers, she saw that she had 2 messages. She pocketed the cell phone and went to the bathroom for her toothbrush and brush. And Sarah didn't risk asking about Renee, whether he was a friend or if it was friendship had advanced to the level of boyfriend and girlfriend. She drove her Volvo station wagon with both hands on the wheel, and her eyes flitting up the rearview mirror every few seconds. She was a cautious driver. His name is Renee, Marissa braved. That's a nice name. I knew a girl from school named Renee. They drove in silence for 2 blocks before her aunt said, I saw you had a lot of grass on your sweatshirt. We were sitting on the grass. Marissa relived the 2 kisses, and had to smile at the image of Renee playing the recorder. My mom is so embarrassing. And Sarah chuckled. She is funny. Marissa reached into her front pocket and brought out her cell phone. She had 2 more messages. But he's your novio, que no? Novio? Marissa hadn't implied that Spanish language distinction, but yes, she answered. Her favorite aunt. He was her novio. And you're really going to be in this play for that? Her aunt braked it as the light turned yellow. Yeah, but we don't have any lines. We just sing in a chorus. She shoved her cell phone back into her pocket. Just sing? Singing is everything. She gunned the engine when the light turned green. Aunt Sarah began to sing a Mexican song, and Marissa was lulled by the song of a young woman who loses her boyfriend to another girl. That won't happen to me, Marissa thought. Renee will always be mine. At Aunt Sarah's house, Marissa showered and then put on her jeans and t-shirt with the Simpsons on the front. In the steamy bathroom, she checked her messages. It's me, the first one said. Me was Alicia, asking why Marissa wanted to keep fighting Roberto. The second was from Alicia, too, saying she was sorry for the first phone call. Oh, God, Marissa moaned. Couldn't Alicia see that Roberto was no good? She checked the third message. It's me. It was Renee who told her about a PBS program on television about volcanoes until his mother's voice, the voice was harsh, told him to get off the phone. The fourth message was Renee, too. He was singing a made-up tune for Good Night, Sleep Tight, Don't Let the Bed Bugs Bite. Marissa clicked off the phone, feeling happy, but she had to wonder about Renee's mother, a dragon by the sound of her voice. Was this his secret? She played back the message of Renee, singing, and then she joined her aunt in a living room for an evening of chess. Marissa was determined to learn a few moves to improve her game. This is the end to Chapter 7.